I did not grow up in the business. I didn't know anything about the business. I didn't know, parts margin, labor margin, average repair. I didn't even know ARO was when I first started. And I'll tell you right now, my dad had no idea either.
The pain is short term. I think that's the idea, that the pain is going to be short term for the long term of a little less pressure on income. So I'm just play along with me a little bit. Don't actually give me numbers in your head, but as business owners, we can manage our income a little bit differently than just someone who's a W-2 worker. Hi, I'm Brad Herlock, your host of the Garage Crate podcast, and also owner of aashopmarketing.com, a digital marketing company for repair shops. Today's episode from the Origin and Impact series is with Erik of Norwood Auto Service, and he's been on our panels before, most recently in July of 2024, specifically talking about, we chuckled about how long it's already been, how fast time flies, right? But we were talking then about succession planning, or not succession planning, but the other way around, taking over a shop from the previous generation. Most recently, if you're paying attention and you're following along and you're subscribing like you probably should, you'll know that the most recent panel that we had was actually about succession planning, with the older generation passing it along to the next generation and what the steps are to plan for that. And so we've come full circle in that year. And I'm glad that we're doing this Origin Impact series, because I love hearing the stories of how we've gotten here and the different tips and lessons learned along the way, and the impact that we're having with our peers, our community, our employees, our customers, and I'm really excited to share Erik's story, because it kind of ends that. And so if you haven't already, go back and listen to, I want to say it was I think it was episode 9. Go listen to episode 9, and then come back and listen to this episode as well. You're going to enjoy hearing how it ends, but it began, or actually even before that. Erik, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your shop, and then we'll actually start with, then we'll go back to where it all began. But why don't you first tell us about Norwood? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, your memory is insane. We just talked about this. I can't believe you're remembering this episode.
Thank you. Lots of caffeine.
My name is Erik Scheidt. I am the owner of Norwood Auto Service in Chicago, Illinois. We are a one-bay shop, but we have a satellite shop that has 4 bays and 2 technicians. My main shop has 5 bays and has 3 technicians, so 5 total technicians, 2 service advisors, and then I hop in whenever I need to.
So I'm sorry, when you say you hop in, you're turning wrenches when
No, absolutely no turning wrenches. I do not like getting my hands dirty.
Okay. All right. I think that's a joke, but you're serious.
Yes. No,
Okay.
no dirt on my
All right. Very good.
but I have been known to go in the back and do an oil change, brakes, tires, because that's how I started. I guess that's a good segue, right?
Yeah.
So I have been the owner since February 7th of this year. I took over. I just bought out my dad, actually my parents.
Okay. But you started changing tires at age 7?
No, not quite that early. So I started probably being the lube tire boy, whatever you want to call that person, maybe in 2006. Yeah, I graduated high school in 2008. So I probably started when I was a sophomore, junior, just little things here and there, nothing crazy. And then I want to say I started becoming more interested in the business side of things, maybe towards 2008, 2009. And what would happen is, so I lived with my parents. My dad would drive to work. It's about a 30-minute drive. And I would drive with him on Saturdays, because I would only work on Saturdays, because during the school year, I'm not going to obviously stop school, right? So I would start just working with him on Saturdays, and then summer I'd work with him on summer. And, I just got to kind of know the business, kind of know the, I don't know, the oil change side of things. I became pretty good at oil changes. Me and my little brother worked here together. He started working here a little bit after me, and both of us we would have competitions on who could change tires faster.
Okay. As long as they're done right, that's fine. That's great.
Yeah, and they were like little Toyota tires, so like, I mean, I think we did it maybe 40 minutes one time, 4 tires, so it was pretty quick.
Nice. Nice. All right. And is he still in the
He is
industry, in the
not.
business?
He is,
Okay.
if you want to call him in an industry, he's probably more of my enemy in this industry. He works at a finance he's a finance manager for a Volkswagen dealership.
Okay.
So he's selling people cars that, I'm more wanting people to keep their cars, right?
Right. Got it. Got it. I was
But
curious as
he's
far
been
as
doing
how the
that
enemy was going to be, but okay.
10, no, almost 9 years now.
Okay. And his Volkswagens. And they have they have their problem. It's not that he's taking customers that are replacing. He's giving you future customers potentially.
He said the tariffs have screwed up his line of work for the last 2 months, and he's been, kind of going nuts on it.
Interesting. Okay. Well, doesn't Volkswagen just have to set up operations here in the States? Isn't that what's supposed to happen?
They have to do.
Isn't that what they're supposed to make manufacturing here again? I don't know.
They should, right?
I mean, that's the concept, right? So it's then the tariffs get released. I don't know that I'm not an economist. I just hear bits and pieces. So if you are an economist and you want to come on and explain how tariffs are impacting the auto repair industry, hit me up. Go out to the aashopmarketing.com website. Go to the garage, the resources section. Go down to the garage grit section and fill out a form and let me know. Or you can just find me on Facebook as well. But anyway, until then, we're just going to have to speculate on how these tariffs are going to impact our day-to-day lives. But I do think that part of those, and again, maybe that expert will be able to come on and explain this part of it too, but it's my understanding that that's how it was always done as far as how the government was mostly funded until, 14 when they started the income tax. And so, yeah, right, a little bit. Though I'm getting a little bit of gray, and so maybe it's catching up. But but yeah. So the idea is that the income tax can be, the pressure of the income tax can be removed from us because, and so I hear people talk about how the tariffs. That the individual pays the tariffs, the companies don't pay the tariffs, and I get that in principle because if the company's expenses go up, they've got to increase the cost of their goods to go up. Now there are still market forces in place that don't let them raise it as much as they want to. If they have a competing company that does not have that expense, right? Or a lesser expense, then they can't raise it as much as they might like, or they might lose that portion of the pie. But the pain is short term. I think that's the idea, that the pain is going to be short term for the long term of a little less pressure on income. So I'm just play along with me a little bit. Don't actually give me numbers in your head, but as business owners, we can manage our income a little bit differently than just someone who's a W-2 worker. But like, what relief does that give you? It could be significant for some people, right? So, it could be significant just for the technicians in the shop, if nothing else, like because they're straight up that W-2, they're seeing that, and so maybe it makes it easier to hire and find technicians, or maybe it makes it more affordable to pay them. They don't need the larger wage because they still have the same take home pay. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think we know yet how it's going to impact. But again, if you are an expert on this, you have some insight, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to have you chat with us. All right. So back to the tire changing, the 40 minutes you said for the smaller Toyotas, and okay. And in episode 9, you were talking about the challenge of taking the slow transition process. And it has come to a head, or at least finalized this past February. Was there a single check that you wrote out, or was there a loan with the bank? Or I'm sorry if I'm talking about too personal here, but I'm kind of curious how you got yourself over that final step, from the money perspective and from the relationship perspective.
So I would say that maybe shortly after July, I started to really put it into place. I decided I probably had to find a lawyer to write it up because my father's just not the smartest person. So he was never going to make a plan. He was never going to make any type of business proposal or anything. So I decided that I had to do that. I gave it to him, and I think reluctantly he like agreed with it. But I don't know. Let's see, that happened. I think we signed on it maybe in October, and it took 5 months with lawyers and paperwork and whatever else you want to talk about in there. And we got it done.
All right, so you wrote up the business plan of how to make the offer or how it's going to finish transitioning, and right away you hired an attorney to make sure that it was all the legalese was.
I just hired an attorney just to help me because I didn't know how things were going to go. I didn't know the dollar, like, the financial side of purchasing.
Okay.
I asked some. I asked one of my buddies who's a fellow shop owner, and he is more about growth. So he gave me some advice and basically told me to reach out to a lawyer. It wasn't because, I didn't think things were going to be treated unfairly or what, but like just more just to CYA.
Okay.
And make sure it was done right and make sure it was done, I guess, legally.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And that attorney, they were local to Chicago?
Yeah.
Okay. Did they have space or experience specifically in the auto repair industry, or was it small business?
I don't know if he had experience in auto repair, but I got him from another friend who owned a bar, and he was in a very similar situation with family and
Okay.
not working together, and so he gave me the number, and then it worked.
Okay. All right. And so, did your dad end up going out and hiring an attorney as well?
So yes, but one of his friends is an attorney, and that was just a whole mess too because like
Okay.
I just didn't
So
feel
sort of hiring. It was more like more like
Yeah.
a favor, like the old boys type club network.
Yeah.
All right. So and that can get crazy. So I don't know if you're catching the vibe here. It wasn't a friendly handshake type approach, and so there was arbitration of sorts, or arguing at the least, on different points that they had. And so, was it all about the money, or was it other things that were mentioned?
For me, it was not all about the money. For him,
Okay.
yes. For me, it was security. Got married in 2023.
Okay, recently.
2023. Don't have any kids yet, but I would like to at some point start a family. And just having that security. I worked here. We talked about it. '06. It's 2025, so you do the math there. I've been here over half of my life. I felt it was deserved. I just think that there was two different viewpoints on the whole situation, and I guess my advice to anybody going through this right now, uh, just get it done. The money is, I don't know, secondary to me, I guess. Obviously, if I do well in my business, I can make all that back, right? Um, but I did end up having to take a loan out, a personal loan.
So it was a single payout type approach.
So I took a personal loan out, and then I agreed to pay them little by little because the business got appraised at far less than what I expected it to get appraised, which in the end, I guess helped me.
Sure, it did, but not.
But
I mean, not in a bad way, but
then
in
you
an
got hired.
appropriate way. Not in a good or bad way, but in an appropriate
Yeah,
way, right?
it
Maybe.
didn't, I didn't have, I didn't get the high enough loan that I kind of wanted. So I agreed to pay each one of them out over a certain amount of time.
Sure. So, well, back to the appraisal thing. Like, to me, that's very we talked before we started to hit the record button, right? That we're numbers people, and to me, an appraisal it's the removal of all the sweat equity, and someone like your father, and I can empathize with this. There's a level of sweat equity that goes in that is potentially higher than the actual valuation, and maybe they see potential. Well, potential isn't actual dollars in the ledger, so it is really, really simple to look at that. And then the other piece of it is, and we've talked about this on the succession planning podcast, about how if you are involved in the day-to-day operations of the business and you're trying to sell, or in this case trying to buy, like what's the cost of that person going into those shoes has to be deducted from the value of the shop. Like you still have to get paid. You still have to pay that manager. You still have to pay that operations, that the shop foreman, all that. So whatever those roles are being done by the owner. And so
part of this whole situation of why we never really agreed on it was because there was a lot of debt that was taken on in this whole situation. And my dad, not very smart with his money. He had to file bankruptcy a couple times. He failed out. So he's been here. The business is he owned the business from 1988. From 1988, and he still had a mortgage.
Okay. So you own the property now, or does he own the property?
So my whole part of the deal was it's all or nothing. So
right.
we
you
talked
to lease.
July,
Yeah.
And in August, September, I almost was at the point where I might have had to do a career change. Might have had to start calling you.
Well, we're always hiring, right? So isn't everybody? I mean, you're always the right people.
It went from here to like maybe here, and then I got.
Well, there were times during that podcast, again, episode 9, that I could see in your face that there was a weight there.
Yeah.
And so I'm sorry, are you crediting the Garage Grit podcast with trying to help you move forward with your shop? I'm not sure if we're dancing around that or if you're just point blank saying.
The whole idea of moving forward with the shop was probably 3-4 years in the making. I wanted to do it before I got married, and greed. Greed got really in the middle of it all. It was not.
And again, just so the listeners, they don't have as much background as I have. The greed that you're talking about is Dad was expecting a larger payout than the appraised value, or based on operations, debt, and a bunch of other things. All right, so keep going.
Part of his issue too was he wanted to have his cake and eat it too. He wanted to get paid, but not have to pay any bills.
Okay.
So like he wanted to be a W-2 employee essentially.
Yeah.
And
listen, if there's a friendly, there are setups that you could do like that, and that you could even involve an attorney on, that in a friendlier environment, right? And this was not as friendly as an environment.
I mean,
I would love the idea. No, just me personally, I would love the idea of writing a check to my dad every single month to help him with his retirement years, right? For no reason at all, just because and having it as part of the business, and then occasionally bring him in as a consultant. Now he doesn't know anything about digital marketing. His spelling is really bad. Love my dad, but he probably doesn't know how to spell websites. So anyway, it's but so he can't be our consultant. But that sounds like a fun way to do it if it's a fit, right? So you got to figure out what's fit for you. But there are people who can resonate with your side of the story. So keep telling more about what happened. So July happened. You kind of got a little even more. You kind of got pushed a little bit more for, okay, this has to happen now. You went out and got an attorney, and talk to me about fall of 2024 into winter.
I mean, essentially, I gave him an ultimatum. It was
okay.
Either sign this or I'm gone.
Yeah,
if I'm gone. I'm the whole. I mean, I don't want to sound cocky, but I'm the whole business. Like am in charge. I am in charge of eight other people's families. So like I had to make that decision, and it was a hard decision. You know, I I had in my head, I was like, you know what? I'm okay with this. Like it going back and forth with my wife talking about it, who helped me a lot with it. Um, Going back and forth, it was tough because like the only other job I've ever had besides this job was I was a pool attendant at my parents' complex townhouse pool for a year and a half. And other than that, here.
Okay. All right. And interestingly enough, sometimes that makes a very powerful resume, and sometimes it makes you almost unemployable because you've known nothing but being the top guy. How well are you going to be the bottom guy? And so it's an interesting conundrum. I mean, here you've made this shift, but I also mentioned, like, think about that though. Right now, if you wanted to sell it, I'm not saying that it maybe it feels too early to start your succession planning, right? But if you wanted to sell this business today and they evaluated it, they would actually subtract how much it would cost to replace your roles, plural, from that valuation to determine the and so now, I mean, I'm not your coach, but I guess now part of your goals are to include is when you're growing the shop is how am I less required every single day, right?
Yeah.
How
Delegate.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, so my goal now, I guess we're getting ahead of it, but my goal right now is to not be in the business as much, but work on it. Because if
Okay.
I'm working on it, I feel like I am more helpful and I can provide more to the team.
Okay.
Now,
All right.
I'm pretty damn good at a salesperson too. Right now, I was just doing some numbers. So, if anybody wanted to hire me, I still have some numbers here for you. For the whole year, I got, it was like 300 and something cars total. My whole year average arrow is about $900.
Okay. Nice.
But I do all the big stuff. I mean, I'm not just doing like oil changes, but if I have to hop in, I'm pretty good at it. I just don't like to talk to people all the time.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. And it's a matter of, helping them realize the benefit of maintaining their car before actually things go wrong. So
And that's what really kind of lured me to everything is that I started realizing that I was good at it. And that like your memory, remembering episodes from a year ago and the number and the people that were on it and what we talked about. I remember people's cars from like when I was literally working and doing oil changes. Like I remember customers and their cars. My wife would not agree with my memory, but I just like I I like doing it. I like helping people.
yeah. Well, I'll show you a flaw in my memory. We talked about working on the shop instead of in the shop in, I want to say, April of 2024.
The
I want
first
to say
one?
that was episode 3 or 4.
Are you talking about the first one I did or no?
No. Were you in on that episode? I don't think you were.
What's the first one?
The first one that I did was actually. All right, so hold on. I got this. So the first one that we did, episode 1, was about credit cards, whether or not to pass them along to a customer, and that was back in.
Which I'm sure is still a very hard topic to go through. I mean,
which is why we are revisiting it, by the way.
Okay.
Here we are in September of 2025, and the next panel specifically is about whether or not to pass on credit card fees. And we have people who are against it. We have people who when I asked them whether or not they do it or not, they said they don't currently do it. I was like, okay, that sounds like they could be brought over to the other side or whatever. And then we have someone who is currently doing exactly that. They're giving their customers the option by offering them other options that don't pass along the rate. So I think it's going to be a good conversation. It'll be interesting to hear. Anyway, but you're right. And a lot of the topics that we've talked about, such as in versus on, are worth revisiting, and especially hearing from other voices on that topic. So in episode 2, we did bad reviews, how to respond to bad reviews on Google. Again, another good topic that is fun to talk about. And I think episode 3 was in, I think I skipped a couple months there, and episode 3 was in, back to what you and I were saying about habits of doing things on an ongoing basis. I started the podcast, I fell off the wagon for 2 months, and then I came back. And then time management was the one I enjoyed joking about, because the time management episode was the longest panel. It was over 2 hours.
Yes.
And I
you had like 4 people, I think, right?
It was yes. I think you're right. And it was also a scenario where it was too broad of a topic, I think. I think if next time we visit that, we have to be more specific on time management. And then the next one was in versus on. And so that's also a worthwhile topic to kind of explore. And so that's your goal. That's where we're going with this. That's your goal, is to do more. What does it look like for you? The next thing that you've got to do to be more on instead of in. Wow. If that's your goal, you've got it outlined. What's next?
Well,
or either that, or I'm calling you out. You don't have.
You're definitely calling me out.
Sorry.
I just so I like to try to have a meeting with my employees, do one-on-ones. When I have to go on the counter, or somebody's out on vacation, like that stuff kind of like goes to the wayside, and I don't get as consistent with it. So my time management isn't great. So I like to do one-on-ones. I like to. I'm like we were just talking a little while ago. I'm a numbers guy. I'm managing the business by the numbers, because numbers do not lie. So I try to explain to the employees, hey, this is where you are, this is where you could be. So like I like to make sure that processes are being followed. I guess here's the hardest one, is creating processes. That's something that I've wanted to do forever, but I have not. I went to Vision Conference this past spring, and I sat in a class, it was like a 6-hour class, talking about processes and procedures. And you know what I learned in that class? IT could be my best friend.
Okay, yes, AI could be your friend.
Like best friend. I'm like,
well, maybe not your best friend, but one of your friends. Yeah. So, and aside from that, right? All right, a quick funny story. So, I broke a few bones earlier this year, and before I started physical therapy, I was on Grok and asking specific questions. I was like, here are my X-rays. Here is how it feels, and I would be very, very specific. And what physical therapy exercises do you recommend? And my wife was like, are you talking to your AI girlfriend again? And I'm like, no.
Why she gotta be a girl?
I don't know. Why right? And like, what an awful name. Maybe I don't know. It's Grok. Is that German? Right? You should know. Is that German? Is that German? So,
that's Google. No, it's just a different version, right?
Yeah, Grok is X.com or Twitter's. Okay. Yeah. So, but ChatGPT is another open AI source, and then you've got Gemini, which is Google. There's dozens of them out there, and when you're using ChatGPT or any of these, I do recommend that you actually use 2 different ones, and actually kind of play off of, like, see the different results that they are going to produce. And but you're also going to learn how to better ask the questions and frame the situation up front so that it gives you good information. I'm going to give you another cheat. You ready? The next time you're doing something, hold up your phone and record yourself doing it. And then you go to things like scribe.how, AI, and I don't know if it's scribe.how.com or there's a bunch of different platforms that actually will take that content and write it down for you, and then you put it to ChatGPT and say, clean this up into a step-by-step process. And so
Yeah, right. And like that, and then you have like a whole process already created. I mean, I agree.
Right. Yeah. Now that said, you ready for this? I still like the video, because think about the people who are going to be coming on and adapting these processes. They usually prefer to watch the video as well, right? So, so it's not a bad idea to have a written as well as a, much like when we're talking about how people use and listen to podcasts, even video podcasts like this, a lot of times people are just listening. And it's not until you say something or point something out that they stop and then take a closer look. I mean, that's how I often interact with podcasts. And so same thing with those videos. They could be listening and then they could stop and then look, or also refer to the paper version. Create a lot of thoroughness by that, but also without having to create a ton of time. Like, I'm not telling you to get a video photographer or a video production guy to go and create these.
It takes a lot of time.
And it would take a lot of time and a lot of, scripting and no. Record yourself. So try that out.
If people weren't watching this on video, they wouldn't know that you did not start out with the beard.
That's true.
But one time I looked, I was like, man, he's got a beard. He's got long hair. What happened?
So yes, and I just cut it all in half last week. But my wife was giving me a hard time about how I was looking. In the same week, one person asked if I had a mullet over a video conference as well as at my son's football game, and I'm like, okay, this is a problem, and so we're gonna address this. But yeah, the real surprise was, again, at my son's football game, the old coach of his, he didn't even recognize me. Like, he's like, and you, like, who? Oh, your voice. I recognize your voice. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness, did I gain weight, or oh no, I just didn't bother to keep up. So, but yeah, you're right. So video matters, right? So, people, I think, I don't know. Let me know if you try that. Can you reach back out and let me know if you try that? And again, I want you to record what you're doing. And then you put it up to a program that transcribes it, and then you put it in the chat GTP and see what that process looks like. And don't go big time with it. Just pick like one thing, like, I don't know, how to enter something into your CRM. I believe you recently changed CRMs. You're currently using who now?
Steer.
Okay. And how long has it been?
2 months, maybe.
Okay. All right. Is it too soon to give them a shout out? Or are you happy with them so far?
I have enjoyed Steer immensely. I would say the service advisors not the best, because our other platform, Kakui, there's just different issues that arise in Steer that Kakui didn't have. Like, for instance, on Kakui, we could text the customer I can find your number, you can tell me your number, and I can text you. But with Steer, they have to be in our system. I don't like that. Hopefully they fix it, but it is what it is.
So you could potentially add the phone number into the record, and then you can text them from Steer. Do I have that right?
But it has to be a closed ticket, apparently. A whole weird thing.
Okay.
But like Kakui, I can just text you and be like, hey, Brad.
Okay.
The reason I'm saying this is, like, somebody calls me, okay? And they say, hey, I have a flat tire. Can you give me a price, or like, how long do you have a tire? I go, well, can you take a picture, like, of the tire? Is there a nail in it? Like, is it repairable? And then like, yeah, can I send it to you? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll send you. If you've never been anywhere, I'll text you. Hi, this is Erik from Norwood Auto. They'll text me, or they'll text. The text will go through, and then they'll send the picture, and I get it right there. With Steer, they can only text us. So it's just like another step. Like, hey, here's the number.
Oh. Okay. Got it. Yeah, it is easier to reply sometimes. So yeah. I get that.
But overall, I do like Steer. I'm so far off here, but Steer has a lot of AI and integrated into their system, so I like that. How
are you using that?
With Steer?
Yeah.
So they help me make campaigns in a way. I haven't really utilized it too much, but
Okay.
they also help with the recording the phone calls, and then basically it deciphers if it was a good call, an okay call, a bad call, what the call was about, before I even press play to listen to it. So like I'm looking at it, it says mixed on it. I'm like, well, what am I what am I about to get into here?
I'm sorry, my mind just went to that AI logic listening in to my wife who's Italian and talking with her family or her sister and how it would decipher accurately whether that was a good call or a bad call.
Yeah,
Because
so I don't
as
know
good
how
Italians do, they get animated, right? And they,
but overall, I think I like it because I don't know how they are, but they're married with AutoOps or AutoOps is with them. So we use AutoOps since probably July, maybe May last year. Um, and I love having the scheduling option because I would do that. Like if I go to my barber, I'm doing that online. I can text them as well, but I'm
right,
doing it online. I'm not calling.
right,
Also, I'm
right.
dating myself by doing this. I don't know what the new kids do now. It's like we're trying to get them to watch the video, right?
So all the more reason. I'm just kind of processing that, and I'm also thinking about how, first off, I'm a big fan of AutoOps as well. I like a lot of the better scheduling tools online. AutoOps isn't the only one out there. They probably don't want me saying that, but there's a need to. There is a segment of your customer base. If you're a shop owner listening to this, there is a segment of your customer base that doesn't want to talk to you right now, or wants to schedule it while they're thinking about it at 6:30 or 7:30 at night, and your shop's not open, and they don't want to return phone call because their particular job they can't take phone calls from you during the day. So whatever the case might be, and so the ability to just fire off to schedule something, and now with AutoOps, you can dial in on what you're allowed to let them schedule, right? If they can't schedule an engine replacement for tomorrow.
Exactly, and they can't schedule an engine replacement tomorrow. Like
Right.
we're 2 or 3 days out on Ottawa.
Oh,
If you
okay.
call us,
Okay, gotcha.
if you call us, maybe we'll be able to fit you in. But like, I mean,
Yes.
it helps. It helps keep the schedule going, keeps the schedule busy, helps flow, I guess, right?
Yep.
And then what it
A lot of
also
times, those scheduling tools they also let you pick what times of days you're letting people schedule those times. So
yeah.
you can really dial in. You don't have to worry about it taking over your entire operations.
Oh, for sure. Like
you can
right
be
now,
in control of it.
right now it's Thursday, and the shop eats lunch from it's a little late, but the shop eats lunch from anywhere from noon to 2 o'clock. Most of the time, we're noon to 1. I think lunch got here a little late today, but on AutoOps, I block out noon to 2. Nobody's coming in or able to do that, right? So it's
Right.
nice. I also don't want anybody coming here before or after 2 o'clock because who wants to do an oil change at 4 o'clock and like we're closed at 5? Like, it's just that doesn't help the customer, that doesn't help the tech. It's just not conducive.
And so you can fit it to your operation as you're hearing from Erik, and but there is a segment of your customer base that doesn't want to talk to you,
Yep.
and in today's world,
Don't feel bad.
yeah, in today's world, they could
Embrace.
schedule it online if you had that set up. If you have a Dropbox set up, they drop their car off the night before. Again, they haven't talked to you. If you're doing the inspect every vehicle that comes in processes using a DVI, you, again, aren't actually necessarily calling them. You're just sharing with them the videos and the text-based content and the images. And then they're tapping, okay, I want this, this, and this. And it really takes Erik out of his ability to help sell the deferred work. But which is why sometimes some customers like it, right? And so you got to meet them there. Now, you can always reach back out and say, hey, you deferred this work, and this is problematic for you going forward because.
Yep. That's what your CRM does.
That's right. And that's if you have that right CRM, then you're also automating or semi-automating that process. But yeah, and then they pick up the car after hours, right? Depending on, again, the setup that you have. They've paid payment by text message, right? Potentially, or and
You're
they
speaking
haven't even.
exactly like my shop, by the way. It's like you know.
I did not know that you're doing all of those things.
Yeah,
That's great.
and
That's great. And so
beautiful.
do you have customer? Can you actually go through your customer base the way I go through the episodes and tell me that Renee is someone that you've never met and probably may never meet because she's never shown her first. She might not actually be Renee. It might be Harry.
Yeah,
who's
right.
just pretending to be Renee.
There are a couple for sure, and you know what's crazy too is some of them actually do approve a decent amount of work. Like
Okay.
they are.
So you're a
They're
numbers
busy,
person.
right?
So hold
They're
on.
busy. So my
Yep.
goal with when I'm on the counter, my goal with the inspection is that I want the inspection to sell itself. So what we're working on here at the shop right now is that every single car that has an inspection. So we don't inspect every car. I agree with the inspect 100% cars, but a lot of times we get deferred work from like last week, so we're not going to inspect that again. Or we do a lot of tire repairs that people just want in and out. But we're about 80% inspection, so that's my goal. I'm good with that. Um, but so my whole thing with inspections is if the technician's recommending something, be coolant flush, or power steering flush, belt, fuel system cleaning, whatever they're recommending, there needs to be a picture. And if there's a picture, then I can write a caption on that picture. And when I can write a caption on that picture, I use my little buddy ChatGPT, and I take that picture and I put it into ChatGPT, and then I took the customer's notes or the technician's notes and say, hey, this is what they're saying. This is like the belt's cracking. And ChatGPT will take that picture, give me, maybe 3 sentences, put it in the caption, and then I'll be like, here's why you need to replace this. Here's what could happen if you don't replace this, or whatever. However you want to tailor it to yourself. But my goal is that I don't want to talk to the customer. I want this inspection to sell itself. If they have questions, I'll talk to them. But like I'm trying to give them as much information so that when they call me, it's how much.
They're informed.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. I like it. Now, what platform are you using to manage the DVIs?
AutoOps.
Okay. All right.
It's
And so, correct me if I'm wrong, they've got the red, yellow, and green. I don't know if they're the only ones that do that, but they've got the red, yellow, and green.
So funny you asked that. That is something you can customize. And I have now added it's green, yellow, orange, red. Green good, yellow future, orange is what we call overdue maintenance. So we recommend fluid exchanges every 30,000 miles or 3 years. Some are 40,000 miles, whatever. What kind of maybe what the manufacturer says. So let's say a car comes in here, never had any fluid exchanges done, but they have 38,000 miles. All their fluids are going in orange.
Mm-hmm.
We used to put those in yellow. But I will tell you right now, when you see orange and red, I don't know, maybe you need to have a neuroscience, is on, but like, I don't know what it is. Like they're like, oh, I got to take care of that. But if I had that in yellow, no.
So I wonder how many other shops are putting those overdue maintenance items in yellow versus red. And I wonder how many of them are doing a mix of it, right? If it's severely overdue, then they put it in red. If it's just a little overdue, they put it in yellow.
Yeah.
Whereas any overdue maintenance gets put in orange for you.
Yes.
It's a very clearly defined category.
Yes.
And I'm guessing that alone helps the customer do a better job, helps the customer realize their next steps for their vehicle.
Yep. And it's
the necessary steps.
Been probably something we've done probably 2 months. We used to have it in purple, and it was called preventative maintenance. And
I think orange is better.
Yeah, right. And so like if you saw it, you'd be like, oh wow, that actually looks really clean, and it flows.
Yes.
And preventative maintenance can be, I could do it. Overdue maintenance is I should do it.
Yes.
You play on the words and you play on the colors. But I'm also not trying to, sell them something they don't need. So like car comes in 20,000 miles, all those fluids are going to be in green.
And that makes sense. And I think that's part of it too, right? Like we talk about, increasing the ARO. We talk about the all the other things that we're doing, and we sometimes refer to it as sales. But the reality is, you're also building trust. You're also, and that trust gets stolen and potentially never ever regained the moment that you flat out lie. So don't do that, right? Be transparent, be trustworthy. And we've got this industry in general has a stigma against it because of the number of shops that have done that. And okay, some personally local.
Oh,
You don't have to say their names.
I'm not saying any names, but for sure.
Okay.
Like here's how I feel about this. Okay, when you have a 6-month warranty on your parts, you're lying to your customer. And the reason I say that is because most parts stores are 2 months, or sorry, 2 years. So like if you say 6 months and you return that part to the parts store, maybe I'm giving away some secrets for some people here, but if you return that part to the parts store, you're going to get credit for that. But if you're going to charge the customer for it, that's just not honest.
Well, there's another factor to that, right? I mean, I'm with you on that. But what about when they do the 6-month thing? Are they also including their own labor? Are they just saying the parts?
It's just parts.
Okay.
It's 6 months parts and labor. So here we're 3 years, 36,000 miles, 3 year, 36. I know people don't agree with it. I even do it on brakes. Don't have to do it much, but it's also more just like if they're wearing unevenly, if they're squealing, like really, how long is it taking? Are you going to have a happy customer that you did that? I will, I'm not going to say it right now, but we will probably be moving up to 4 years, 48,000 miles. I know plenty of shops that are in the ATI world do lifetime. Some are 6 years. It just builds value. We're not the cheapest in the area, but if I tell you, hey, you got a 4 year, 48,000 mile warranty, I mean, what kind of value does that give you?
Yeah. When you said lifetime, what are you talking about there?
I don't know exactly how it works, but they do a lifetime parts, I think. I don't know about labor.
Whose lifetime? Whose life?
Right? The car's life.
And again, that can't possibly apply to all cars. I mean, people are driving cars that are like 15 or 20 years old, well, right?
I think people might even sell sell a warranty with that. So like when we call our parts stores, or sorry, when I call a salvage yard, a junkyard, LKQ is a big one that we use. They'll ask me if I want to add a year warranty instead of 6 months for $100 or whatever. So I mean, in the industry we could do that as well. But my whole thing is like 6-month warranty, like really? Like what parts storage are you using? Because they're easily, most parts stores are 2 years. I'll say year at the minimum.
Okay. Yeah. So you're saying they're underselling it. They're trying to have fewer comebacks by.
I don't even know if that. I mean, they're definitely not as expensive, so maybe that's part of this issue too. But like, I'm just saying, like, when you have, this might be a point of contention for some people, but when you have people that are way up here on something and way down here, like we're all like trying to be at the same, same level. And we're just like, the industry's got such a bad name from some of these things that people have been doing for years. Not being honest, selling things people don't need, right? I mean, that happens every day. It sucks, yeah, but it happens every day.
Okay. So you mentioned ATI. How long have you been? I mean, I'm sorry. I made the assumption that you are currently with ATI. And okay. And so how long have you been with ATI?
I just passed my 10 years. Actually, it might be almost 11 years next month. So I guess we can go back to the origin side of things, right? So I did not grow up in the business. I didn't know anything about the business. I didn't know, parts margin, labor margin, average repair. I didn't even know ARO was when I first started. And I'll tell you right now, my dad had no idea either. My dad was, if there's money in my wallet, then I'm making money kind of guy. And I know you've heard that before.
Yeah.
So
Two of them.
we, there's two sides of this. So, um, I started looking into coaching, because I was becoming more of a, important role at the shop. So I was looking at Elite, ATI, and I forgot what the other one was at the time. In the meantime, I also started dating somebody who ended up being my wife now, 11 years later, just kind of put the numbers there together. And she's from Maryland. Well, ATI is headquartered in Baltimore. So kill two birds with one stone. Go visit, get some school in, visit, Um, so every time we go back to ATI or I have like my 20 group, she'll come with and we'll do a weekend or whatever. And, again, kill two birds with one stone. But I did not know anything about the automotive. So I decided that what I like, a lot of my friends went to school, went to universities, got degrees. I went to a community college, Harper Community College, and I worked at the shop at the same time. Didn't know what I wanted to do, and my grades weren't the greatest. I'm not a very school oriented person, um, and I did not know what my career path was. I wanted to be an accountant, but I didn't know how I was going to go about doing that. So I just went to community college, spent far less and had no student loans than many of my friends. Some are probably still paying them. But what I took ATI as was, if I did it the correct way, and we were at the time, it was the re-engineering 4-year plan. Price wise was essentially the price of a year of tuition in some of these schools. I took that as my schooling. I took that as like, my career path. So I did it. And I joined alumni right after, and I mean, I'm still going strong
Nice.
almost 11 years later.
Still more to learn then.
Oh, tons more to learn. You never stop learning.
Nice. Okay. All right. And with ATI, you're part of a 20 group. And you've got friends in that 20 group.
Plenty of friends.
And you've got people that push on you and whatnot and try to get you to be better. And that accountability there is probably amazing. All right, good.
Exactly.
Now the coach that you have, same coach all these years?
You want me to give them a shout out for both of them?
Sure, if you like. Whatever you want to do.
So my first coach was Kevin Allen.
Okay.
He was my coach for 7 or 8 years. He saw the really, really bad, and then we gradually went up. But he started with me when we were, an ARO was maybe $250.
Yeah.
And
just for the record, guys, that was we're not actually. It's not 900 because of inflation.
No. Well, the labor rate was crazy low too. I don't even think we're over 100 when I first started.
Okay.
Again, ATI just taught me how to be profitable, making more money, and like having a life, I guess. We also were open 6 days a week. We were open Saturdays. I have not been working on a Saturday in 5 years.
Okay.
I don't ever want to go back to that. So that was my first.
I'm sorry. That's interesting because I just spoke to someone the other day who said it's easy to find technicians, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
And he might actually be on a future episode, so stay tuned to hear more about what he has to say about it. But he just said one of his 3 tips to finding technicians was don't have your shop open on Saturdays.
100%, 100%.
So you will attract more talent and good talent by just not being open on Saturdays. Fascinating.
No weekends.
So right now there's a whole mess of people who are upset about the fact that they can't take their car in on Saturday, but it is what it is.
People get over it. You know,
they will. They'll learn to use your Dropbox system.
They're not your customer if they don't go because they don't, I don't know, stay loyal. Like, I lost a couple. You also gain a couple. It is what it is.
Well, you gain a happier employee base, which is like put a number on that. Good luck.
Yeah, right. And so Kevin was my coach for, I want to say, maybe 8 years. Okay. And then he started taking a larger role at ATI, and he had to, try to put this nicely, cut some of his clients and move them to somebody else. So I got the choice to choose who my coach was, and my 20 group facilitator was Don Walter. And I decided that I wanted to, he knew pretty much everything else about what I was doing because he's my 20 group facilitator. And I didn't want to go and start fresh with something new. So I moved on over to him. And he.
So you got to pick your next. I said, at first I thought
I wasn't.
So,
no, I was dropped.
And please pick from this menu of options.
Yeah, exactly.
The one who's already familiar with you is a good option. All right, so tell us about Don. Right?
Don became my coach, and I also called him my therapist because he got to see. I mean, Kevin was there at the beginning when me and my dad were clashing and working together, but Don also saw where my dad and I just did not talk, and we were clashing just as bad. And it got when we were like, let's just say I was older, obviously, right? So it just like I had more of a head on my shoulders, less immature when I joined ATI. And when we joined ATI, the main thing about joining ATI is if you're gonna talk to a coach or do something, you have to be open to change. You have to be open-minded. My father was not open-minded. So like everything that I was starting to change and move in the right direction, he was adamantly against. We were a clipboard and invoice shop, which when you hear saying is customer drops their car off, I write up their invoice, put it on a clipboard, keys go there, clipboard goes over there. After that, we went to a computer-based system. My dad's not a computer guy, so like he just didn't get it. He didn't change with the times. And then so Don got to also see the growth of how I became the shop owner. And I'll tell you right now, the day I became a shop owner was February 7th. I called my coach Kevin and I said, "Hey, I did it."
Nice.
Because I hadn't talked to him for a little bit. Again, he got busy. I was like, the next time I talk to him, I'm going to tell him because he was there from the beginning. He saw the struggle. It was a struggle.
All right, so February 7th. So put that on your calendars if you're listening in, and then reach back out to Erik and give him a happy anniversary on February 7th coming up. So that's a good story, or it's also a tough story. So I'm glad that you're the shop owner. Sorry to hear about the dynamic with you and your dad. It is what it is, right? So you said there was a period while you were working at the shop that you weren't really talking, and then before that there were a bunch of clashes. Can you tell me a little bit about the types of clashes that you would have? I don't want to bring up bad memories. You're gonna have nightmares tonight.
We're already there, buddy.
Okay. Jeez.
We just didn't see eye to eye.
No, I get that, but can you give me an example?
Changing things. I did not want to open on Saturdays. He wanted to stay open on Saturdays.
Right. Because in his mind, it meant more green bucks in his wallet, which meant more profitability.
this is one of the main things I hated, and this is the first thing. He told me that I shouldn't pay a mechanic to clean. And by that, I mean, like, if the mechanic had nothing to do, somebody else should be cleaning the shop, not the mechanic. And I was like, what do you mean? What? So you're just gonna pay him to stand there? Like, pick up a broom.
So
The
are you
culture.
flat rate? How are you
There you
paying those mechanics? How are you paying? What is your payment structure to paying your
So they're paid hourly, but they also have a efficiency bonus. So like if they book, 30 hours, work 40 hours, they get a certain bump in their pay. If they
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
100% efficient, it goes up and up and up.
Right.
There also is a team-based bonus, and then and that's basically based on like gross profit and sales. And then
Okay.
the service advisors have a sales bonus as well.
Okay. All right. I mean, I asked that because it goes back to the logic of you're paying them. They should be doing something.
Well, and that's the other thing too is my dad did a lot of stuff under the table, a lot of cash.
Okay.
And then I said, well, if I'm taking over, Uncle Sam's not going to get you. They're coming after me, so I'm changing this immediately.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I guess that's an example.
And please, I don't know if we should try to like. I think what we'll do is we'll edit that part of the podcast so that you can't quite understand what you're saying, so that the IRS can't come and audit your dad over the next 6 years. See,
we're past that. We're past 6 years on that. It's
oh, okay, all right. Then he's okay then. All right, good, in the clear. All right, so IRS, that is not a tip if you're listening in. You don't have to keep listening. All right, very good. Let's move on to so when you weren't talking, when you weren't talking, I'm thinking it was awkward to work there as another employee. I don't know that I want to be working alongside you while you aren't talking with the boss man who's paying you. Even though I like you, right? Like, that's awkward.
Was a very good proponent in keeping things out of employees'
Good.
things. But my dad, he'll be 79 this year. It's just much is old school. So like if he wanted to say something to me, he'd say it out loud and he'd say it how he felt. And I'm like, whoa. Like, one, do not yell at me in front of people. Like, if you want to talk to me, and we'll go in the office and talk. But like it just got very toxic, I guess. When you don't see eye to eye and somebody wants to change things, and that person didn't want to change anything, they didn't want to like grow, I guess. It just didn't work. He pretty much after COVID, he just hadn't he really didn't come here as much. We I mean, I just said to you, there's no reason for you to come here. Like you literally I told him he could have retired years ago. And if he would have listened to me, it would have been a much more amicable situation and we would be talking. I know you're probably going to get into it, but him and I are not talking right now. So, and that's based on just principles and him as a person. We don't see eye to eye.
That's tough. And I don't know how to respond. That's tough. That's a tough spot to be in.
Well, like you said,
and
it is what it is.
It is what it is. And I was hearing someone just earlier today talking about feelings and this and that, and I'm like, I kind of shook my head and thought, how do feelings play into the equation? Like, but you and I have talked about this before. We're numbers people. We like our numbers, right? And
yeah, you gotta take feelings out of the equation when you're managing. But there are feelings. You're still gonna have
they exist. There's no doubt they exist.
Yeah.
And
it's hard. Just taking the feelings out of it. My coach would be upset if I told you that I was managing by feelings, by my heart. But I have a heart, and it's hard.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. So you're saying Don's going to have
Don doesn't
record
believe in
meeting with you? Okay. Okay. Now, with the 20 group, do they actually come? I've heard where sometimes they come and evaluate your shop. Have you gone and evaluated other shops? Have some other shops evaluated your shop?
So,
And
so my
yeah, you're nodding your head. Go ahead.
my 20 group has been around since 2015, 2016. I think I started with them in 2017.
Okay. So have you had a turn?
I had a turn. And I want to say it was right before COVID. I think it was 2019, 28.
Okay.
And it is it's eye opening.
I think you're being nice about it. I think it goes back to you better be ready to change. There's no purpose in hiring a coach if you're not ready to change. But if you're ready to change, if you're ready to accept this is how it is and here's why it can't be this way anymore, then it sounds like a coach is a good plan. And from what I've heard of these evaluations, can you describe how that works? Everyone comes to your shop. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you go to a shop this year or next year?
We went to a shop this year. It was in Rhode Island. Well, technically this year, Rhode Island. Our next shop visit is in October. It's in San Antonio.
Okay. So in Rhode Island, did the owner start crying when they started to point out all the things that were wrong?
No, but I mean, everybody's like, here's what people don't understand is, again, you got numbers, right? And I can tell you managed by the numbers, but you have no idea what's going on the back end of stuff. Like, you find out, some people are doing this, or, some person's like trying to, like, one of their employees is like a stealing or something. You find out some crazy things in there. And they're also, by the numbers, like, very critical. And I'm sure there are definitely owners that have cried. I did not cry, but I also wasn't an owner at the time. So, can't really.
When is your next appointment? When is your next?
I don't want to do it anytime soon.
Calling Don. Erik is asking for to be on the slate for 2027. He's volunteering.
It's a lot of work. Because in our next meeting in San Antonio, we're going to choose who we're going to go to. So you have a whole year to choose, or to figure out what you want to change. When they came here.
Wait. Say that again. So you know the shop name that you're going to in San Antonio, right? They're in your 20. All right.
Yep.
So and you know that they are coming to you, and so it's one of those things where maybe here are the obvious items that I know that I need to fix that I don't want them to dwell on, so I better hurry up and clean off the. Well,
and that's the thing. Everybody thinks it's all visual. It's not just visual.
Okay.
What we do too is we also go and we check around the neighborhood. So, if there's somebody across the street, we're going to go across the street and ask them if they know the shop across the street and do they use them. And then you find out, yeah, I use them, but they had somebody come back for something. I'm not saying that this has happened, but
right.
And then you go down the street further, and they're like, "Oh, I have no idea who you're talking about. I've never been there." So,
yes.
Well, why don't you You're the marketing guy. Well, shouldn't we be going around and trying to get the people in our neighborhood?
100%. So there's something that we look at when it comes to marketing is the local grid map, right? The top three or the map pack. There's different ways to refer to it, but the bottom line is people don't dig on Google.
No.
When they search for something like auto repair near me, and they're a mile away from your shop, and you're not in the top three, if you're not the top one or two, there's a problem, because one is getting the majority of the calls, 1 to 3 are getting all the calls.
Yep.
And I'm talking about your Google business profile, but that isn't a standalone item. You have to do all these other things to make sure that your profile is being appropriately held up. Mm-hmm. And so. Yeah, no, we look at that all the time. I've actually recently I did a grid report for somebody, and surprisingly enough, they were in the third spot, 1 mile north of their shop along the highway. I'm like, okay, that's nice, but they were sixth right in front of their shop.
Yeah.
So if you're not looking up to see their sign, or if you have your back to their building and you do an auto repair near me, they weren't there, right? Actually, yeah, I think with that particular phrase, they're even worse. But anyway,
getting on the top 3, that's a lot of work too. Sure, but it's also like it's work.
No, you should pay someone like us to do it. I'm not at all biased.
Hey,
but in all seriousness, though, there are certain. It depends on how much competition you have, right?
Exactly.
So I've had people on this podcast where
it's
and what the competition is doing, right? So I've had people on this podcast where they're one of 2 shops in town.
Yep.
Well, they don't need us,
no, they don't need you.
right? Right? They're in the top 2 spots all over town. It's that small of a town. Hooray! But if you've got 5 competitors within 2 miles of you, then good luck. You're going to have to do more than just make sure that your Google profile is updated occasionally.
Yep.
And you're going to have to spend a ton of time researching how to get there today.
Well, it's
because, by the way, what worked 6 years ago doesn't work today as well, right? So these things evolve, just like in your space.
It's always changing. Google My Business, what did that used to be again?
That's a good example in of itself, right? It used to be Google My Business, but now they just refer to it as a Google Business Profile.
But what did it used to be before that? It used to be something else.
It was My Places, or there was even a time when Google actually had a social media component. They were actually going to be they were trying to be the next Facebook.
Yeah.
And then they actually merged your personal profile with the Google. I think it was like Google Places.
Yeah. And there was it was something where you would have to post to the profile too. And it was just now you don't even have that much, but it was just so, it always changes.
And so, it's funny. You complimented my memory about what episodes and whatnot, and I just drew a blank on this one. But I've been in the digital marketing space for about 25 years, and so there are certain things I remember, certain things that stick, and certain things that don't. But anyway,
it's gone, so we don't have to worry about it.
Well, you have to worry about the Google Business Profile because that is, especially in this industry. It was Google Plus. Yes. Good work. It was.
And that was a weird one.
It was Google Plus. Yes.
I knew.
Good job. I like it. So but I like working with shops who have a change mentality. And so often those shops also have coaches because they're open to that change. Because the shops that say, hey, I just do it the same way, their attitude is I live off my referral business, I live on walk-ins, and nothing's ever going to change. And I'm sorry, but do you not remember COVID? And some shops had a bad experience with COVID. Some shops had a perfectly fine, actually an improved experience. Their shop numbers went up because of it. But it changed. It was a massive change, and so. No, the only sure thing is you better be on your toes to make changes and be open to them. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I kind of like shops who are plugged into a coaching mindset or a change mindset, because we can help them the most.
I mean, I kind of feel like that's how I go about life, is just being open to change. Because
I like that.
You don't want.
I'll give you an example of a shop that we weren't helping. I'll give you an example of a shop that we weren't helping that we are helping now. And so we were plugging away. We were increasing their Google Business Profiles presentation or visibility. Their SEO visibility went through the roof. Their social media went up. We were driving up all the numbers. We were driving up the number of phone calls happening to their shop, but the revenue wasn't increasing. He recently, mentions 4 or 5 months ago, has rebooted his entire staff. And guess what? He started to take the benefit of all of those increased phone calls. So, and that's how that works. And that's what I like about the change mentality, right? Is that I can increase the visibility. I can increase the number of calls. But if you do shoddy work,
when
then then I can't keep those customers.
Exactly.
Right?
When I have the people with the Y call me all the time, probably once a week, Yelp. They always ask me, "Can you take on more cars?" And could I? Yeah, sure. Do I want to? No, because I think we found a good sweet spot. When you have enough cars, you can check them all. You can inspect them thoroughly and give a good inspection, and then you can have a higher ARO with less cars. And like, who wants to work harder when you're having 70 cars and your ARO is, $400 when you can have
Well, I
50
appreciate.
cars and your ARO could be 700.
Yep. So, and I also recognize that the marketing approach that we take isn't right for everybody.
Mhm.
And it is right for a growth mindset shop, a change oriented or willing shop. And so, like, if you were trying to add 4 bays or just increase take on another technician, if you had the capacity, then we would be able to go in and make sure that 2 miles away from your shop, you're 4 miles away from your shop, you're in the top 3. This is happening for you, and you're getting those increased phone calls. But if you, as you just said, you're pretty much at capacity, then how do you improve upon that? And that goes back to the coaching side of things, I suppose, on trying to make sure that you're as efficient as possible and getting as much value out of the shop as possible. And that gives you options. That gives you an option eventually of buying a second shop across town if you wanted to.
Yeah. My whole
what do
thing
you think?
about buying a second shop is maybe down the road, that would be awesome. But my whole thing is I want to perfect one before I even open that other can of worms.
Well, sure. This goes back to your next steps of process building. Yes.
Call me
yes.
out. Next time I'm going to be on in August 2026. You'll be like, you got your processes done?
Let's review your first process. Yes. So so we've actually kicked around the idea of having that as a panel.
I'm sure. I mean, that's one of the biggest topics. I mean, and the thing is, everybody knows they need to do it. Just no.
But I feel like it's the same problem as time management. I feel like you could actually have a marathon podcast episode and just talking about it for 6 hours, right? I think I need to actually be more specific on it and do maybe like a process panel series where we touch on it 3 different times.
I don't disagree with that. So here's what I think is my issue is the hardest part is starting. And to me, it's also about our organizing because I'm also very analytical and like, okay, I want a process for opening the door. Well, then I want a process for how you turn on the coffee machine or am I going too far into it or
A little bit.
You think so?
So, I mean, I would say that, but during the succession panel that we just had recently, someone was talking about how in their processes they very, very clearly articulate the test drive for this type of vehicle or this type of issue, and the test drive for so short test drive, long test drive, right hand turn versus left hand turns, and so they actually map it out. And so now if I don't know, Billy is going on a test drive, one of your technicians, you know exactly where he is on that loop.
So I don't agree with that because I think that you should have just a test drive route. Because again, somebody doesn't bring their phone for once and then you don't know where they are. Well, you follow that route and you could find them. Worst case scenario, right? But then you're also like, if you're hearing a noise on a certain road and then you finish that car and then you go drive it down a different road and you don't hear that noise, well, maybe you're still making that noise. You were just on a different road, right? So I think you need to take the exact same test drive. We keep getting so far off topic. It's so funny. I think you have to take the exact same test drive that you basically constantly do, right? Before and after.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. So you wouldn't say long versus short. You would say based on the particular issue, or would you say no? It's got to be you just have to make sure that the test drive varies the types of roads.
So I like how you even said that he was a little more anal about his test drives because like you could need.
Okay, I didn't use the word anal.
But you so you could have a car that you have a suspension noise on. Well, you don't want to go drive that car down a straight path. You want to, on a final test drive, you want to go drive that car down a bumpy road and see if you hear that noise. But
Now, I don't know about what Chicago's like, but in Pennsylvania, that's most of them.
well, yeah, that's all of them.
Okay.
Then you're also like, if you have a suspension noise and the noise happens after a minute, you don't need to go drive that car for 10 minutes. But if you have a car you fix an engine light on, and you know you're trying to make sure that engine light stays off because they have to pass emissions soon. I don't know in Pennsylvania if you have emissions. I think you have state inspections, right?
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's actually more convoluted than that.
Yeah.
Different counties actually have different emission
I
tests.
think that Maryland's the same way, but
Yeah.
we do emissions, which don't even get me started about the emissions tests. And you got to drive that for maybe 10 minutes. So like I have a straight shot route
Yeah.
I have. So like
Yeah.
you have different test drive routes.
Can't you just put that on a machine and just have it run for 10 minutes?
Awesome.
Okay.
That would be awesome.
Okay.
But no.
All right. All right. Snap-on. Did you hear the need? Did you hear the anyway, so no, seriously, the yeah, I don't know. When it comes to emissions, I don't know if there's a statute of limitations involved in this, but there was a time in my history where I actually I ate a can of chili. I cut the can lengthwise, and then I taped it onto the exhaust pipe. Taped it up really, really good so that I would pass for that day, the next day on the emissions test. And so, but it was a golf ball sized hole that I was filling, and so that Kelly chain didn't last very long. But but anyway, I don't know.
See, my
Maybe
emissions test is if a check engine light is on, it will never pass emissions. Well, the check engine light could be on for a transmission code, but the transmission's okay. Well, the only way to fix that code could be replace transmission. So in order to get a license plate sticker of $110 or probably $150 now, who knows?
Okay.
You got to put a $5,000 to $7,000 transmission in your car. Okay. No. Again, don't get me started. It's good for us. It's good for the business, the shops.
Well, so I also think that could be an interesting panel topic.
You better write all these down.
No, we're recording. So
you got them.
and I'll use the AI to spit out the summary, and it'll be like, what are the top podcasts? Anyway, so, but I feel like that could be a topic because I was talking to a bunch of shops in Virginia recently, and like you have people who are like, no, I refuse to do state inspections, and then you have other people who are like, I use it for. I think in some states you can say I'm not an inspection station. You have to go across the street, and so. You're saying that everybody in the state of Illinois, that every single shop has to have that particular certification?
Has to pass emissions.
Oh, and that's how it is in Virginia. Yes. There's an inspection that every car has to pass in Virginia, but some shops have said, I refuse to do the state inspection. You have to go across the street.
Shops don't perform the emissions test. You have to go to an emissions test facility. So we can all cars, but we can't get it to pass the emissions. Which is also stupid. Don't get me started.
Okay, and so the emissions is a state-ran facility, so there's no.
I don't even think it's state. I think it's county.
Okay,
there's a county, Joliet County. I don't know if it's Joliet County or what, but they don't have emissions, and that's like an hour south of Chicago.
That's really. I mean, I'm thinking like the DMV line, even worse.
Yeah.
Right, like the. Yeah. Okay. Huh. But yeah, I think that could be a topic as far as whether or not that's actually good for the industry or not. Because I've talked to shop owners in other states who they don't have anything like that, nothing state mandated, and they sometimes end up putting cars back on the road that because of deferred work against the shop's recommendation, that they're just like, you know what, if I saw that car, I would turn. Get off the road as fast as possible.
Because I do feel that I see cars I wouldn't drive on the road, and they're still on the road. And in Illinois, there's no state inspection. So, like, I'm not afraid of my driving. I'm afraid of the people around me. Like, who knows? That wheel could fall off tomorrow.
Right, so it's just the county level that has it for you,
Just
not the
what?
whole. Just the county, not the whole state.
No, I mean, yeah. So admissions is just county wise. I think it's depending on who wants to do it. I'm not sure, but
Okay.
there's no state inspection.
Okay.
So like a
Okay.
car could be. I mean, we live in the Rust Belt. I tell people all the time, and I'm sure my coach would probably be upset with me about this, but uh, I tell people all the time, get rid of your car. Like it's just not worth it. Uh, it's rusting away. The frame is going to rot on you. Like it's just not worth it. And what I'm saying about that is that if I had state inspection, it wouldn't pass.
Right. Right. Huh. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you get to have those conversations with your customers, and that actually also builds the trust factor. And that conversation is probably better to be had verbally than just text message.
Oh, for sure.
So there always are exceptions to the conversation we had earlier about some customers just want to avoid that.
Yep.
But it's still a reality in today's world. So I still come across shops who are still using paper, and I find that really, really interesting. And I guess it's working for them. I don't know.
I just don't know what the benefit of that is. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the customer because, okay, now I got to find that ticket.
Right?
No.
Yeah.
Listen, I've had to do it. I've had to find those tickets, and it could take me 20 minutes because let's say that F or that T well no, say the F doesn't have a line, okay? Capital F, and you categorize it alphabetically, and that F doesn't have a line where it would be an F, and then now somebody put it in the T. How am I going to find that?
That's what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, you good luck, right? Yeah, you won't.
And I never will go back to that.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. Now at the flip side, all these cloud services, it's not a. I hear people talk about how I need to have a backup in case the cloud I get disconnected from the cloud or the servers in the cloud go down, and that's a reasonable thing to think through. But I don't know that I would recommend not using the cloud services just because of it. Right?
I agree.
Like that's not a barrier. That's acknowledge and have a plan.
I think the cloud services or the cloud programs are actually more secure.
Well, it's more secure, more stable, and they're going to get repaired faster than if you had a local issue, if you were doing it on a local network. Because the IT guy's got to come in, and I don't know if he's available or not, right? Or girl. I don't know. All right, so this whole thing, we talked about like all sorts of different things. The title is Origin and Impact Series.
This is like, you didn't have you going all over the place.
This is where... this is mine as well. So, but it was the Origin Impact Series, and yet we talked a little bit about your origin. We talked about where you're at today, and we talked. We kind of touched a little bit with some of the conversations you have with your customers. What kind of relationships do you have with your customers?
Oh, we have a great relationship. We're very heavily involved in the community. Last year, we did our first student driving clinic. We had about 25 kids, and we decided, basically the reason we did it was because one of our employees wanted to run the Chicago Marathon, and he had to raise money. I don't know if you know how much that costs, but it's absurd to run 26 miles, 26.2 or whatever it is.
Now, if I understand that, you're saying they paid him to run that, right?
No, he paid them.
No, I did understand you.
Okay.
It's also ridiculous. I'm thinking about how much you'd have to pay me. I'm not paying anybody to run that, and I'm wondering how much you'd have to pay me
goes to
before I would be willing.
But all the money we raised, we charged $25, and basically, we had 3 stations. We had a station where we taught them how to jump a vehicle properly with jumper cables, because anybody can jump a box with a jumper box, but there's a proper way. It's escaping me, so don't question me on that right now.
Fingers and...
how to change a flat tire with the spare tire. A lot of people, call AAA, but what if you can't? And then we taught them how to like check the fluids, check your washer fluid, check your oil.
Yeah.
And then we ended up lifting a vehicle and then showing them underneath, and they asked all sorts of questions. And that was good.
Okay.
We had like 25 people. We raised, I think it was 25. I think we ended up being able to give $700, $400. Yeah, it was $400 actually. And then I said that I would match the $400 that whatever we raised, I would match and I would help him. So we gave maybe.
So those 25 people paid $400 to get
$25
class?
or $20 or something. I can't remember. So we tried doing it this year. It failed miserably, and the reason it failed miserably is because we didn't have one person sign up.
Why didn't you have one person sign up?
I don't know if we didn't have the right marketing for it, or we just didn't get it out enough. I mean, we also do it in July, so I think maybe it's just like it's on a Saturday in the summer, and I don't know, it just didn't go. But segue is we're doing a women's one this month, September 26th. And we are going to teach them basically everything, but we're also going to be able to serve light cocktails.
All right. So how many customers who were female came in today to your shop? Give me a ballpark.
I've been sitting in this office for like 3 hours.
No, I'm sorry. Then go with yesterday. I'm just asking, like on a typical day. I'm leading, by the way. This is a leading question. Go ahead.
Mostly women.
Okay. Out of those 10, how many of those were individually invited to come back on the 26th?
I wish I had our flyer. I don't have our flyer, but we have a flyer.
I'm not talking about handing out a piece of paper with an invoice. I'm saying verbally, specifically invited.
Yeah.
Clara, you should come to the. Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. That's
what I'm
important.
saying. We give them a flyer, say, hey, here we go. Like, you're invited to join us.
Yep.
And so we're not.
And are you charging for that event?
We are, but all the money is going to go to a charity.
All right, good. All right, so one of the things where I was going with my point, and I'm glad you're actually following it along. All right, now it might be a matter of reaching back out and trying to get a commitment from some of those guys, but those gals. But we had an episode, shop owners panel in January of 2025, and it was about community connections. And 2 different shop owners expressed how they had an event similar to what you're describing, all right, or what you've described. And the one shop said that it was an amazing success, and the other shop said nobody showed up. Yep. And the one shop where nobody showed up, they put it out there on Facebook. They mentioned it. They were trying to find new customers with it. But the shop that was successful, they did retail type style invitations, right, to their existing customers, and then encourage those existing customers to bring a buddy.
Interesting. Okay, I like that idea. I just sent out the email to basically all of our customers for the last year that have come in here and haven't gotten a lot of traction on them. Maybe I need to talk to a marketing guru.
Or just listen to my podcast. No, seriously though, I like the buddy approach because you already mentioned there's cocktails, right? Yeah. I mean, it's So, this is something that if you're curious about, bring a teammate, make yourself feel.
We had one lady call and say she was going to try to do a group outing out of it.
That's what I'm talking about, right?
I think we're going to have more traction coming soon. I just don't know when or because we're 22 days away. So we got 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And I remember the student one, I think people in the last week, we have maybe 15 people sign up. So this is last year. Last year's was really, it was good.
Yeah, no, I caught that. And the reality is people don't want to commit too far out. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you start planning on how you're going to make sure what's that?
This is on a Friday after work. So it's not a Saturday afternoon. So I think you should be able to get more people, but time will tell.
It's a happy hour education, right? So,
but overall, I think we're really good with our customers.
Good.
I don't want to toot our own horn. We just passed 700 Google reviews.
Nice. Okay. I like it. I like that. All right, good. So that's the impact that you're having on your community. We talked about the origin, we talked about the impact, and so now we can be done. You can go back to work. No, this has been a really long conversation, though, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I think we had some fun on it, and I appreciate you for taking the time out of your busy.
I had a great time. I always tell you I'll do it again if you need me.
All right. Well,
called me last week, and I was like, "Yep, I'm there."
That you did. That's true. It was that fast. And so we're gonna have to get you on another panel. What do you think about this topic? We're probably gonna do this in October. So I've got a little personal beef with the average voter, in that the average voter votes in the presidential elections and then doesn't bother to vote in the local elections. And the way it actually works, especially in the auto repair space or small business space, is the local elections have more impact than the president. And so what are we doing? Pay attention, because if you do want to buy or create a shop across town, or if you do want to add on to your existing shop, you should at least and very well know what you're getting into with whom you hopefully voted for or didn't bother to vote for. Don't not pay attention. So anyway, We're talking about having a panel in October. You're nodding your head. What do you think of that idea? Do you have any experience with
I don't.
that?
But here's what I don't understand. In the city of Chicago, business owners pay a sales tax, right? For the county, for the city. Cannot vote for the mayor, cannot vote for the alderman, cannot vote for unless you live in the city. Explain that.
Yeah.
Like what? Like I mean, I'm paying, I'll say maybe $40,000
enough, right?
A year.
Yes.
Maybe, right? No, actually, way more than that. I don't know.
But I mean, you're passing that along to your customer. Your customer is paying that bill.
Yeah.
And again, as we've talked about with the tariffs, right, it's being passed along. But at the end of the day, they still look at their final bill and say, "This is what I paid for brakes."
Exactly.
Not, and so that actually makes you, if you're on the fringe or the edge of the city limits, then and the guy across the street isn't in the city limits, then that could be
cheaper for sure.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. Like, you definitely need to look at the local side of things more than the whole, like the whole system is. I don't even want to get into it. It's very flawed.
Stay tuned for that episode. But for those of you who have been listening, thank you so much. If you want to keep part of the, if some of these ideas that have came up have created questions in your mind, as of right now, we've got this small but growing Facebook community called the Garage Grid Podcast Facebook community. That's where I'm encouraging people to ask those questions, and let's all start a conversation. The whole goal of the Garage Grid Podcast is, as well as with AA Shop Marketing, is to help as many shops as possible. And I know that if you're listening in, you're thinking about growing or developing or improving your shop in some capacity, and so you're in the right spot. And now, if you're in a spot where it's just a matter of the cash is in your pocket and you don't really care and you want to work Saturdays, and then maybe this podcast isn't right for you, and that's okay too, right? I mean, it's not for everybody. But you are in the right lane if you're trying to develop your shop, you're trying to grow your shop. Keep listening to the other episodes. You can do that by clicking the notification bell when we're dropping. Right now, we're dropping episodes every Tuesday. I'm considering increasing that. We'll see. But by all means, reach out if you have any questions. If you think you should be on one of these panels that we have on a monthly basis, let me know. There's a spot on our website to request to join. If you have a story to tell that's fun, I'm happy to have you on here as well. Just, again, reach out to me. But again, let's just work together and see how many shops we can help along the way. So, Erik, thank you so much for being a part of this program.